In this video, I'm going to discuss at least 4 reasons why Hillary Clinton will never be indicted. To understand and discuss the real reason that Obama endorsed Hillary for president, you first have to understand how the Clinton Foundation crime syndicate operates. For years, the Clintons have been collecting information on not just their enemies, but also their friends, whether it is through private investigations or the use of the IRS. They have a wealth of information on so many people. So let's apply that to what she could possibly have in her pocket against Obama. I'm going to pose 4 questions to you that if Hillary has the answer to any one of these 4 questions, she will never be indicted and most likely will be president of the United States. Question number 1. Where was Barack Obama on the night of the attack at Benghazi, and who was he with?
Let's turn to Benghazi, and I want to ask you about one lingering question, which is the president's actions on 9/11, the night of the attack, because we don't know very much about that. We do know that in the afternoon, he had an already scheduled meeting with Defense Secretary Panetta, as well as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Martin Dempsey. When he heard about this while they were in the meeting on an unrelated subject, he said that he wanted them to deploy forces as soon as possible. The next time that he shows up is that Hillary Clinton says that she spoke to him at around 10 o'clock that night after the attack at the consulate, not as it turned out at the annex, but the attack at the consulate had ended. Question, what did the president do the rest of that night to pursue Benghazi?
Well, look, the president was kept up to date on this as it was happening throughout the entire night, from the moment it started until the very end. And because this is this is a hard...
With due respect, you didn't answer my question. What did the president do that night?
He was in constant touch that night with his national security team and kept up to date as the events as they were happening.
When you say his national security team, he didn't talk to the Secretary of State, except for the one time when the first attack was over. He didn't talk to the Secretary of Defense. He didn't talk to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. Who was he talking to? He
was talking to his national security staff, his national security council, or the people who would keep him up to date about these things as they happen.
Was he in the Situation Room?
He was kept up to date throughout the day.
Do you not know whether he was in the situation?
I don't remember what room the president was in on that night. That's a largely irrelevant fact.
Well,
the point is, the question is, the premise of your question is that somehow, there was something that could have been done differently, okay, that would have changed the outcome here. The Accountability Review Board has looked at this. People have...
Here's the point, though. The ambassador goes missing. It ends up the first ambassador in more than 30 years is killed. 4 Americans, including the ambassador, are killed. Dozens of Americans are in jeopardy. The president at 4 o'clock in the afternoon says to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, deploy forces. No forces are deployed. Where is he while all this is going on?
This has been testified to by the...
Well, no one knows where he was or how he was involved or who told him there were no forces.
The suggestion of your question is that somehow the president allowed this to happen.
I just want to know what the answer is. I'm simply asking a question.
There are also new questions tonight about the behavior of our commander-in-chief as this terror attack went down. Tonight, for the very first time, our own Bret Baier got an answer to where the president was that evening, or more specifically, where he was not.
I was in the Situation Room that night, okay, and we didn't know where the ambassador was definitively. In fact,
was the president in the Situation Room?
No, and the fact that your network at one time reported that he watched video feed of the attack as it was ongoing is part of what I think has been...
Okay. Where was the president?
In the White House.
He wasn't in the Situation Room?
At what point in the evening? I mean, he was constantly...
Any point in the evening.
You know, it's well known that when the attack was first briefed to him, it was in the Oval Office. And
Question number 2 has to do with the IRS scandal. The president claimed he learned about it through the news, just like the rest of us, when in fact the head of the IRS, Lois Lerner, took the Fifth Amendment multiple times during her testimony to avoid implicating him. When asked directly if he knew about this, she took the Fifth Amendment. This is a corruption at the highest levels of government. It brings back the thoughts of the days of Richard Nixon. Obama knew about this. The question is, if Hillary knows the answer, she's not going to be indicted. Question 3 has to do with Operation Fast and Furious. Was Barack Obama aware of illegal gun running to the Mexican cartels that resulted in the death of one of our border agents, Brian Terry? Attorney General Eric Holder and his Department of Justice bought, sold, and ran guns to the Mexican cartels with the idea of being able to trace those guns to the cartels. In all, over 200 people have died as a result of those specific weapons in the hands of the drug cartel. Question 4 has to do with Barack Obama's relationship to the terrorist organization known as the Muslim Brotherhood and its connections, ties, and infiltration into the Barack Obama administration. The administration has been infiltrated at the highest levels by the Muslim Brotherhood, and even more sad than the appointment of these by Obama has been the Congress that has also approved these appointees. It's open record, and we're all aware of the relationship with Valerie Jarrett. She is his mentor and has been since before he even became a congressman. She has been his senior advisor inside the White House and absolutely calls most of the shots. He's actually a puppet for her. Along the same lines, Hillary Clinton has her senior advisor, Uma Abedin, who is also a known operative for the Muslim Brotherhood and possibly even terrorist ties all the way into ISIS. As a result of their failed administration in Egypt and the attempt to overthrow the Egyptian government, the actual country of Egypt has issued an arrest warrant for both Barack Obama and Hillary. So by now, it should be easy to understand. Does she have the answer to these 4 questions? Can she fill in the blanks? If she can, there is no way in God's earth she's ever going to be indicted. She's probably going to be protected long enough to get her into the presidency, and I would be willing to bet my bottom dollar that she already has the pardons in her pocket.